Good evening. The time being 7:12 on 10/17/2022, and all members of the planning board being present, call this meeting to order. We'll just let everybody know, if anybody's here for agenda item F, which is 434 Main Street, which is the Wamisit Lanes site plan review. The applicant has requested a continuance to our 10:31 meeting, so nothing will be done with that tonight, so you don't need to hang around if that's what you're here for. You're free to do so if you like, but you won't miss anything. All right, so with that, start with agenda item A. We have no meeting minutes tonight, right? Okay, sorry, so no A. Start with B, committee reports, administrative actions. Any of the members have any committee reports they wish to make at this time? No? All right. Moving on to agenda item B2, which is the town planners report. Ms. Lara?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of items tonight. I'll actually start with item number 2. Just a few project updates on Main Street. 1800 Main Street, the old Eastern Bank converted to a Starbucks. They're aiming for an opening of the last week of October. Their signage, landscaping, and sidewalks are nearly all in place, and they're just looking at finishing up a few interior pieces. La Vida Dolce proposed for 1866 Main Street at the old Santander Bank. The external grease tank was installed last month. Interior improvements have been delayed due to equipment availability. The basic framing is up, but they still have a significant build-out that they're working on. Don't have a solid ETA on that one. Berlundi, 836 Main Street, the old Mirabella's Bakery. They've submitted kitchen plans to the health department and revisions are ongoing. My understanding after speaking with the owner today was that they were having some issues getting deliverables from their architects, so they are switching firms and they are expected to have revisions in the next week or so for further review. Eco Auto at 623 Main Street, the old Nissan dealership. They've completed all of their demo work, chemical remediation, and the owner, Al, tells me that they are ahead of their initial construction schedule by about 3 weeks. Their anticipated opening is late January, early February. And I'll go with item number 3 next, inviting you folks to the select board meeting on November 15th, as the select board will be hosting NIMCOG to discuss the Tewksbury Housing Production Plan for 2022 to 2026. The board is invited to attend and participate in this as a joint meeting to discuss the housing needs in town, and the feedback from this meeting will go towards our overall narrative for the housing production plan. You may remember a few weeks ago I gave you folks kind of a high-level overview of what that's going to look like. And then jumping back to item number 1, the ongoing discussion about outstanding as-built and project bonds. I've spoken with the building commissioner, and he supports occupancy until as-built are accepted by the engineering and planning departments. We had discussed making that a part of his occupancy process rather than retaining bonds through this board. And he gave me some rough language here that would include the following. An as-built submittal must be accepted by the engineering and planning departments prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit for phased work, projects with multiple buildings, or other circumstances deemed unique by the building commissioner. Accepted as-built may be required only after more than 50% occupancy is requested. This could be a procedure that we could put into place with some parameters set up with the town engineer and the building commissioner, maybe after the new year, not jumping the gun, but just something we can kind of chew on. And if we think it's something that's worth pursuing, then we can codify it in the zoning bylaw and make it a part of the official process. But initial discussions say that this is something that's totally doable. The building commissioner has done it in other communities that he's worked in, and I'm happy to take questions on any of those items.
So, the only thing go ahead.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead,
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I was just curious on the time on the NEMCOG meeting on the 15th, yeah.
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yes.
Thank you.
So for this, I don't know, we'll figure out if everybody else is on board too, but, I think this is something we should probably pursue. And I think if that's what if it sounds like that's what everybody's on board with tonight, I'd like to let people start knowing that would be something, because I think the first year would be a good start point. But obviously, I'd like people to have, warning of the rollover.
Sure.
At the, as of the 1st. But otherwise, I think the language seems, it should cover it-ish, once you guys, you speak with engineering, make sure that they're on board with, I don't want this process to become a major malfunction. I want it to work, the whole idea is to make things smooth, but get things done. I don't want things getting bogged down and then, we're gonna go reverse things because there's problems, so. Anyone else have any comments on this?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Ms. Lauder, you mentioned rather than accepting bonds, when do we actually accept a bond in the process?
They're made conditions of the site plan reviews or special permits, and their release is predicated upon receiving the final as-bills for the site.
Okay.
That's how it's been done in the past, and that's actually how it's codified in the zoning bylaw right now. But as we've discussed, that doesn't seem to be enough incentive to get as-bills in the building, so.
Right. So we don't ask them for any bonds prior to, nothing, it's only as the as-bills being, I mean, the bond's held until the as-bills are done?
Correct.
Okay.
Right, but in this case, like, this is what I mean, though, like, anyone who's gonna, if we have somebody who starts a process and they're not gonna finish it, and we're not gonna approve it until after the first of the year, I'd like them to get a heads up that if that's what's gonna happen, we're going with the new process if we don't approve you until after the first of the year. I don't want any lag
Sure.
or anything. So if we're done before the end of the year, we'll stick with the bond. If it's January 2 and we're in here, then you're getting the new version, because I want everything clean break at the end of the year, and I want it, you know.
And I'll be giving you guys a proposed schedule for 2023, and we can kind of use one of those,
Yep.
those first January hearing dates as the cutoff, if you'd like.
Okay, all right. So anybody else on this? Chip?
I was just going to say, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I like the phased idea, and that current projects that have been approved obviously get grandfathered in. We don't like to pull bait and switches. We certainly don't like it when it's done to us, so we wouldn't want to do it to any of them. I just was curious, what's the process to formalize this with the bylaws? Does that go before a special town meeting?
It would have to be an
Right.
article at town meeting, yes.
But we're free to do it.
Right, you're free to implement it as a part of, just rules and procedures for the board,
Right.
and, common practices, but it can be something that ends up being added to the zoning bylaw perhaps after the performance guarantee, if you don't want to strike that as an option, because I think that maybe for super complicated projects, it wouldn't hurt to still have that as an option.
Right.
Okay. I mean, my concern, just having known a few developers with quite a, who enjoy litigation as much as the next person, that they would not pay the bond and then sue us to say it wasn't, within our purview to withhold occupancy pending as-built. So then they don't submit as-built, they get occupancy and we have no money.
Sure, I guess the remedy there is to write it in as a condition of
Right,
the site
it's gonna
plan
go in
approvals
the permit.
in place of the performance guarantee.
Right. And then unless and until we get the change at town meeting, so it's just a condition.
Equally as enforceable.
Right,
That's my
exactly.
understanding.
All right, so anybody else?
All set?
All right, so if everybody's fine with this, then we take a motion to go forward with the process of getting this in place?
Sure.
So that we could start that?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we implement a new condition of occupancy being granted upon receipt of as-bills, in addition to all the normal documentation and other conditions that are required at this time.
All right, so we have a motion.
Second.
Motion made second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries. Good, let's start that, get that going. Excellent. All right, moving on to agenda item C, 662 Clark Road, special permit. Do we have a motion to waive the public reading?
So moved.
A motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. We have anybody here for 662 Clark Road? Come join us at the small table.
Well, I live next to that property.
Oh, you you have something to say about it?
Yes.
Okay, no, not yet. I'm looking for the proponents of 662 Clark Road. Do we have any proponents of 660? Is that you? Okay, so you're up here at the table then. If you guys would state your names for the record, then the floor is yours.
Yeah, yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aaron Marakilian.
Pull that microphone close to you.
Microphone.
Just so that it picks it up for the recording and on the TV.
I live in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. I own the property on the 662 Clark Road, Unit 12, for the last close to 15 years, probably approximately. So the last 3 years, the property was empty because of pandemic and mostly what my previous tenant did to my property. He violated the lease and he built a mezzanine without a permit. He lied to me. Within the last couple of months, I finally got to that, and with the pandemic being over, I spent close to $10,000 demolishing everything. It passed all the inspections, building, fire, electrical, and plumbing, and now it's ready to be rented. My family depends on that rent. I have 3 children, 2 of them in college, and but at the same time, I had a lot of interest in the property from a lot of different tradesmen, and but I've been living in this country for about 30 years, and I consider myself a law and order person, and I do everything properly, unlike many other people, unfortunately, like my previous tenant. So I legalized my property completely, worked for a long time within the city inspector, and now it's ready to, so there was a lot of interest, but just like my residential place where I live, I want to be, and I've always been very respectful to my neighbors, and I'm environmentally very conscious person. So it was a lot of welding shops, auto detailers want to come in, a lot of the granite cutting. I want to have a low-key business that could occupy my property and have a low impact on the environment. This gentleman operates a business of importing European toys from Europe. The delivery will come approximately once a month, comes from overseas, excuse me, a few times a week. FedEx will come, pick it up, and ship it to the third party, like Amazon and things like that. And that's it. He's not going to wash his trucks in there. The bathroom going to be used for whatever purposes. There is no other noises. There is no noise pollution. There is nothing. It's a low-key, low-impact business, and that's what I prefer. So it's important for me, right on the border where the fence is, the property itself, it sees its own fenced-in area. And it's also on a very small street. Clark Road is actually a long road, but it's interrupted by a 495. The other part is where the market basket is. So this is a very small thing. So it's off the main road, and it actually fenced-in area is completely away from anything. So, but there is the residential properties, and I suspect this is the family behind me probably. And I want to be respectful to them. Unlike many other tenants that I know that operate, like my previous tenant operated transfer station, which is, that's not what I agreed with him when he rented from him. Because of that, the town went after him, and I went to the court because of that, and the lawyer told me, gentleman with the Greek last name, I forgot his name, he told me that it's not my fault. I wrote it down everything very strictly in the lease, that you have to do what you're only allowed what you allow. You cannot violate the town bylaws and zoning and everything. And this previous tenant did that, and it caused me a lot of. That's why this time I want to be very specific, and that's why I found a tenant that's going to be respectful to all the neighbors in the complex, and low impact, and everybody going to be happy. And that's why I pulled all the necessary permit. I applied for the tenant betterment, that's what's called, I guess. And then it required planning board approval. That's why we're here. I want to do everything properly and by law. From the day one, that's how it be. I've been here living in the United States. We're both actually kind of refugees from Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, and we escaped from the day one. My family, we don't even have a driving ticket, I've been speeding ticket or anything like that. I do everything by the law, and this previous tenant, for 3 years, I depend on that income, and I just couldn't figure out what to do. To legalize the mezzanine, it would have cost me $20,000. Engineer alone, structural engineer, was like almost $10,000. So eventually I came up with a decision to demolish. So the property right now is originally like it was built, the day one, 80s something. There's 2 bathrooms, one of them is kept, that one is a bathroom, and that's it. And it was all approved, so that's why we're here to ask for your support and allow us to connect. 3 years it was empty. I did not collect any rent. I did not pay any taxes on that because I didn't collect the rent. I lost, taxpayers lost. It was very unfortunate, My fault that I didn't check with him when he was building the mezzanine, but it is what it is right now, so we asking for your support. And like I said, it has to be respectful to the neighbors, and that's why we picked. There's another gentleman that calling me daily, he's like, please, I mean, he has a welding shop, and it's allowed, without the permit, I guess, without the special permit. But I know a welding shop, they make noise, they weld, they smoke the fumes, and also they use the hammer heavily on the metal, and it creates the noise. I don't want my neighbors to be disrupted, because I wouldn't like it in my neighborhood also.
Okay. Do you have anything to add?
No.
Did you have something?
Nope.
Oh, I thought I saw you out of the corner of my eye, I'm sorry. All right, so we'll bring it up to the board. We'll start with Mr. Champa.
I have no comments at this time.
All right, Mr. Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, is there a, welcome, is there a sign out front of the condominium project that says the name of the site? Is it Clark Road Industrial Condominiums?
I don't know, I don't think so, but there's a mailbox, like home mailbox.
Yeah,
I don't know
okay.
if there's anything on that that says
All right.
that.
I mean, how does anybody know where they're going? That's my point. And I was thinking of it, I knew the site, I know where it is, it's on the, yeah.
Actually, one of the tenants, one of the owners of units is sign shop. I think it's going to be fixed like momentarily.
Yeah.
What's his name? Yeah, he's one of the neighbors I have.
Yeah.
He makes signs for everybody. He could make it in a day if that's required.
Do you know, what road, what number Clark Road is it on?
Unit 12
Unit 12.
out of 16 units.
But it's Unit 12 of such and such a place.
662. So 662 is a complex. It's 8 units on one side.
Okay, all right.
And it's not- and it's surrounded by.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's what I was looking for. I can't foresee myself asking any more questions other than the non-necessary ones I just asked. But I'm just curious as to that information, because it should be on the plan. This sketch right here, the address should be on the plan.
Oh, the address of the property is not on the plan?
Just Clark, just Unit 12.
It doesn't say 662?
And I don't see it unless I'm not looking
I
right.
printed out that from the registry deed, that's the original one, I
No,
guess, when that
no.
was filled. And that's what it looked like right now, it's just 2 bathrooms in it, nothing else.
Yeah, okay. So you're not going to change the facade, you're not changing parking, you're not changing anything?
Nothing at all.
Okay,
Very low-key business, like I said, delivery. He's going to put the boxes of the toys on the pallets, and that's it. Eventually, if he wants to install the shelves, then we'll go back to the building inspector, the building commissioner, and then we'll, if it's, he told me if it has to be attached to the building with a bolt or something, then you have to pull the permit, we'll do it.
yeah, okay.
That's all it is. But he puts in the pallets, and he might have a desk in there. I don't believe he's going to spend there all day,
No.
So, no,
We spend several, few hours per day.
Okay,
so lowest impact that conflict ever had. Because I owned that for 15 years, and
All right,
very good, thank you.
thank you very much.
Mr. Fratelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I know the property very well, 662 Clark Road, 16 units there. I've been at the property today. So this diagram, what size is the actual garage unit?
1,652 square feet, according, it should.
So is it 28 by 58? Is that what it is?
Something
Or is
like
that both? Because it shows unit 5 out front, unit 12 out back.
Mine is only 12.
Right. So it's probably half of that, what you're showing here?
I think that's just telling you where those are. This is the floor plan for just the unit,
Okay.
or not floor
So
plan.
6
but-
and
Because
8 on one side.
you have the insulation companies there, right?
Yeah,
Tewksbury Welding is there as well, right?
other side, yes.
On the front side, and you guys are on the back.
I'm on the back, yeah,
Right,
exactly.
yeah, so, I did see the sign, I did see the garage number today. So you're saying one delivery every 5 to 6 weeks, is that accurate?
Yeah, some sort of this, yeah.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking you that is because traffic. That's a very highly traveled road down there with a lot of businesses, trucks coming in and out. So we've had, issues in the past with trucks coming in and out of there, but you're saying only one a week, one every 5 to 6 weeks, and pickups 2 or 3 times a week by a regular sized truck?
Yeah, like FedEx.
You build ground to use space.
Okay, because you're not getting a tractor trailer back there?
No, there's no
Okay,
truck.
no.
Regular
Okay.
pickup truck, I mean box trucks. Box trucks.
Yeah, box trucks, okay, all right. So that's why I asked, is the size of the truck's going to be coming in there, because it's in the very back. I know exactly where you are with the fence back there and so forth, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of other trucks come for other businesses, and some of them extremely large.
Yeah.
Like I said, once you allow the use, it will be less amount of trouble, less amount of traffic generated by this business versus any other business in the other 16.
Okay, great. All set, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Mr. Duffy?
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is that a sprinkler building?
Yes, it's all
Yeah.
original sprinkler system built in it. Yes.
Okay.
And fire inspector did inspect the whole unit. He
Sure.
was there with building inspector at the unit.
Right, and I know, and I'm speaking a little out of school here, I'm probably asking more building code issues than
Please.
anything else. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you're well in the industrial district here, you want to change the warehouse, and I know you want to continue to do the right thing there. I think you just something jumps into my head that when you start putting racks in there to store your materials that get delivered to the site, what's your plan on that?
Could you repeat again? The shelves, not the racks. Like if there's going to be a shelf, then we'll pull a permit. But the shelf's not going to be to the unit. The ceiling is probably as high as here. So we're not talking about the high ceiling, high like a Home Depot would have. Nothing like that. So initially it would be just on the pallets. But then the shelves I'm talking about, I don't know what, like 5, 6 feet high.
Yes, some sort of 6, 7 to 8 inches.
8 feet, yeah. Yeah, nothing.
I don't even really need to know those kind of details, other than the fact that I would urge you to, once you do have your shelving and so forth, and then you start putting, because sometimes you have to put those sprinkler systems like right into the racks, right into the shelving. So in other words, there could be some alterations to your sprinkler system once you start putting shelving
It's
on the
going to
interior.
require, well, absolutely
Yeah,
do it.
so
Yeah.
just check with the building inspector before, when you do that, and I think
Yeah.
you'll be in good shape there. And other than that, Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Okay. All right, so just for me, the only thing, we'll see what other folks have to say, but, at least initially, the idea of it being, maybe a less problematic business in terms of noise and whatnot than could otherwise go in there, that would seem to be a benefit. Nothing against a welding company, obviously. That's a business too. And if it's something that can go in there without even coming before us, obviously that's an option. But it sounds like there's already one there.
One what?
Welder? There's already a welding.
Well done. It was a lot of businesses that created trouble.
No, all I'm saying though is I'm just saying there's already one there.
There's only
Whether
one
we,
welder, yeah.
you want a second one, I mean, you could, but it sounds like this sounds like a more benign use. So, at least as of right now, what you presented sounds
Building inspector.
better, but,
Yeah, sorry.
we've got at least some
Building
folks in the audience that we'll have to hear from, so
Sorry.
see what they have to say. So with that, I'll open it up to the audience. Anybody need questions, comments, or concerns, come up to the podium.
Podium
We're
isn't a
not doing
mic
the
right now.
podium. Yeah, I just noticed that too.
Hold the table.
Turn that table still?
That's fine. All right, now you can walk up to the podium, and if you just state your name and your address, the floor is yours.
Good evening. My name is Sergio Limos. I live at 5612 Road, which my back gate borders with this gentleman's property. And a couple of years ago, I had an issue with a demolition company in there. I came to City Hall several times. They were making noises at 4, 5, 6 in the morning with the dumpsters. Nobody ever did anything. I went over to the sign shop next door and I spoke to the gentleman there. He would not give me the phone number to the owner. He said he was going to talk to the owner. Nothing was done. I am still, until this day, dealing with the noise there. And don't forget, gentlemen and ma'am, there's a school there. More trucks, more congestion going in there. Last time they did construction on the back side of this gentleman's building, it shook my foundation. Really, I really don't think this should be approved.
Okay. So, all right, but you didn't have any specific question, right, about this?
I
this
don't have
project?
any questions
Okay.
about what they're gonna do there. It means it's more trucks, more noises. You know, we have a daughter with autism. This is why we chose this house, this property, because of the privacy. But apparently, I don't get privacy. I used to work for the city of Cambridge, and the noise ordinance from 7, only after 7, you can stop making noise until 10 at night. And it's not happening over here on my property. I pay my taxes like everybody else, but I don't see anything. When I come to City Hall to have something done, nothing gets done.
All right, well, just so you know, the noise ordinance is a different group, not us, just so you know.
I understand that, but there's more trucks going in and out. That means there's going to be more noises.
Right. Well, I mean, it is an industrial site.
I understand that, but
I
you
guess what
know,
I'm just getting at is that something's going to end up in there. You know what I mean? It's not going
I
to sit
fully
vacant.
understand
So
that, but I'm not,
a weighing issue, that's all.
I don't think this should be going in there, all right? Because I do own the property there.
Okay.
You know, you guys have
How long has
to
this,
have
just,
some
can I just get a
consideration.
clarification? How long has this building been there?
Something, and this is.
Since what?
1980 something was built.
80-something. When did you buy your property? Just out of curiosity.
This is the.
Sir,
Property looks like it's a new addition in the back. so.
When did you buy your property? I'm sorry?
About 6 years ago.
Okay, so this
I
was
mean,
there. when
I'm
you-
not saying they shouldn't have a business there. Everybody needs to have a business and make money if they can do it, all right? And I'm very concerned about the congestion going in there and all the noise that's going around
Okay.
in that property.
So let me just again, because this isn't so much, but just to throw it out there, this is what, one of the weighings that we have to do is that, as an example, they gave an alternative possibility in there as a welding company. I
The
can't
welding
say for
company's in
sure.
the front side.
Another one is what I'm saying, putting one in this site as well. And the possibility that even more vehicles coming in and out for the welding company might be a worse alternative than this. So that's something both you to consider and us, is that something's going in there. It's possible that the something would be less advantageous than what's being proposed here, just as a consideration, because nothing is not an option. Like, just saying no constantly, I mean, the other option doesn't even have to come before us. They could do that without coming to see us. So just, you know, just keep that in mind, because that's what we have to keep in mind as well. When we weigh all the possible things that could go in there, this might be a better choice than an alternative.
So what
That's
you're
all.
saying is I have to raise my fence, okay, so I can have my privacy.
Well, again, I'm not telling you anything. I'm simply saying we're dealing with an industrial site that's before us for an option that they can have, and we have to consider it. What I'm saying.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for the gentleman.
Yeah, hold on, just, Mr. Fowler?
What unit does your house,
On the back side of the building.
I don't know what the units are.
I
What
don't
u-
know either, sir.
What unit
I
is,
noticed- Can I ask
if not, let me ask you, I'll ask the question, please. Does your unit face Clark Road or
No,
his house?
opposite, the other side of the building.
My house.
Through you, could I ask them? He said that there was demolition done, one of the units, 16, unit 16. And it was like a legend there, and I heard about stories about shaking the house. I wonder if that's the one.
I have no idea.
Is that the one?
Yeah, that's my house.
Okay, excellent, yeah, I have your opinion, and I understand, and that's what I mentioned about, you know. So that's the 16, I am 12. and that had nothing to do with me. But the trucks that he's talking about, this is my previous tenant that ruined my property, and he's still operating.
So
It cost
this was
me,
built in the 80s.
I charged the gentleman $2,400.
Right, but I don't want to get into that. That's, because again, we're talking about a bigger building, there are other units that aren't yours.
Yeah.
So you're talking about an owner of the building versus an owner of the unit, if you're
Can I
talking about
say
problems with the unit. Yep.
For the record,
So,
my
wait,
name-
wait, Yep, there you go. All
I'm
right.
sorry.
Go ahead.
My name is Giovanna Ferreira, and I co-own the property with my husband. And I understand the situation here, and it's not that we are against the business. We just want to get a better relationship, and if there's a problem, we can contact him and do something about it, as we had in the past. And I'm not against
Right, no,
his
but the only
business, and
thing is-
I paid attention to what he
You can only
said.
deal with his unit, though. So if your problem, for this example, if your problem's with 16, that's the building owner, not a unit owner. Condo, sorry. Well, yeah, but someone owns the whole thing, and then individual units within it. So it's either 16 individually, or someone owns the whole thing. So that's the unit you're dealing with, that's your problem.
So there's
as
a lot
opposed
of
to
owners
12.
for each unit has
Yes.
owners?
Yes.
Because we are having issues, I cannot say anything about him, of course, I didn't even know him. But the other units, like, they were constantly throwing bottles of pee in our yard.
Over the fence.
That's-
They destroy the fence so they can keep looking in our yard, because we have a pool, we have 2 girls. So it's,
All right,
that's our concern, but
those
we
are
are
awful
open.
issues, and obviously ones that should be dealt with. Just again,
Correct.
who deals with those kind of complaints is we're talking about a different department here as well as the
Right.
police department. That would be dealing with the things you just described, not necessarily this unit owner, because
Correct.
it's
And
not coming from
our
his unit.
concern is about the times of how many trucks, how it would be, and like the same concerns that you guys, the gentlemen had. And so I want to be straightforward with that,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't want to have trucks all the time, anytime, just like the other units, you had a problem.
Fair enough. I'm sorry, I just want to let Ms. Slaughter share the comment.
Sure, just a couple of items. So first, for the issues that you're having with the noise ordinance, those complaints are handled by the police department. That's a general bylaw that's enforced by the police department. I'd be happy to speak with you folks after the public hearing, get your contact information, and we can talk about those other things offline. For this particular application, to address your concerns of exacerbating the traffic and the timing and things like that, Mr. Eric Halian and his tenant may be amenable to setting parameters for deliveries and for pickups.
That's
so they're
what I
not-
would like
Yeah,
to have.
those are perfectly reasonable
Yes.
conditions that I'm sure the board can propose sometimes, and we can put that in the special permit and make sure so that's where this enforcement comes in. From the planning board and from the building department, we can enforce delivery and pickup hours and those kinds of things. Anything else of those unfortunate nuisances that you folks are experiencing, that is the police department that would have to handle that, and I'd be happy to facilitate that conversation.
Okay, but don't forget also that you also have a dealership right on, next to it, that's more traffic already going through there.
Right, but that's a separate issue.
Besides the school and the kids are there.
I know, but
you
when we have these, we have to stick to what we're talking
Right.
about. You know, we can't address something for a property that's not before us.
I understand.
Okay. I'm sorry,
Just
Mr.
answering
Chair.
the question that he was asking about the house, was the other neighbor too, was both houses.
Don't go until,
Yep.
I'll give you my number.
Thank you.
Mr. Champ, did you have something?
Stay with them.
I did. I guess Ms. Lauder kind of jumped right in there on it, so she's thinking the same thing, which is, I was going to ask, what would you consider your normal hours of operation for your business to receive and send out deliveries?
Usually USPS and UPS, they deliver from 8 p.m., 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. some Saturdays.
Okay, and what about receiving deliveries? Anything unusual there?
The same.
So I guess just to
Same
put
as
a.
anybody
put-
else's house.
Right, just to put a nail on this, though, the one that is going to make the difference is going to be your bigger delivery of the kind of the box truck. So if we limit the delivery to there from, whatever it is, box trucks or whatever, those deliveries that you're receiving, they have to be between 8 and 5 o'clock. Nothing before that, and nothing rolling in the middle of the night. That's what you're limited to, okay?
I think it could be arranged, yeah, you could,
I mean, you'll just have to work it out with whoever's delivering to you, that they got to come between those hours.
8 to 5 delivery.
Yeah.
I think
Okay?
we could ask them.
I guess, yes, we can speak with UPS.
Well, I'm not talking about them, we know their hours. I'm talking about whoever's bringing in your bigger shipment.
Yeah, the biggest shipment we receive usually at the noon.
Right, but I'm telling you,
Yeah.
we're gonna limit it to being between 8 AM
Okay.
and 5 PM. If noon fits in there, perfect.
Sounds fine.
All right? Okay. Do you have anything else?
Do you want to add days to that as well? So he just said that the pickups are typically 8 to 8, Monday through Saturday, is that right? Just like any other residential delivery. So with the deliveries of the main box trucks, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, is that something you want to do, or?
Just leave it the same, do
No,
it.
usually we have some deliveries from USPS on Saturdays, and UPS doesn't work at Saturdays.
8 days.
So, yeah, leave it with the same limitations.
Sure.
For the same days.
Okay.
And then
Monday to
Sundays out.
Saturday,
so-
8 days.
Right. All right. So any other comments? Anyone else in the audience with anything? All right, so we'll bring it back up here. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Just one comment, Mr. Chairman. I mean, my opinion, it's a very limited number of cars and trucks coming in. If you had a carpenter coming in and out of there every single day with trucks and so forth and so on, you're gonna have more noise than anything else down there. So, I mean, I think this is, in my opinion, is a limited type of operation. It's not a lot of in and out, in and out, in and out with trucks and contractors and so forth, so, but just so that.
So you can in 1 second, and so, once I add this, and the other thing I want to do, I want to make this, and we should have this anyways, I guess, but your contact information is to be kept on file with us.
Of course.
That way, if it is your unit and someone's trying to track it down, we have some way to get a hold of you. We've had this before with some of those, where we've got the wrong numbers, we don't have the real boss. You keep your information on file, then that way, if it's you and someone's trying to get a hold of it through something we can deal with, then we have that information. Does that work?
Before this last tenant, my number was on my door. I had it printed on my door, so if somebody needs anything, they call me. I could put my number on the door, but the office, of course, has my contact.
We'll do that, all right? And what did you want to add?
I understand the pain of this family, and I sympathize with them, and I think I know what they're talking about. And there's a lot more other traffic. Like I said, this is going to be low-key, one-man operation, basically. No hammering, no nothing at all. So, but I understand their pain, and I sympathize with them. So,
All right, so with that, we all set otherwise?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve special permit.
We just got to
Close the
close
hearing.
first.
Oh, sorry.
Make a motion to close?
Motion to close, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
All those opposed, motion carries. Go, Mr. Champa.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special permit.
All right. With the
Second.
condition of
With the
the
condition of the
hours,
delivery hours.
as we already stated, and that the owner will keep his contact information on file with the office, and that was it, right? Inspector. Okay. All right, good enough. So,
Second that.
motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Good luck.
thank you very much.
Moving on to agenda item D, 400 Main Street, also special permit. Do we have a motion to waive the public reading?
So moved.
Motion made, do we have a second? Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. You guys step up and state your names for the record. The floor will be yours.
Michael Amenta for Universal Solutions.
Aaron Lutz, Universal Solutions.
All right, so what is it you want to do?
Like to install a fence, actually relocate a fence at our property at 400 Main Street.
Okay.
Type of
And
fence?
the type of fence? Because we know it because we've seen it, but people at home don't, so.
8-foot chain link fence, 1 foot of barbed wire on top.
Okay.
Approximately 800 feet long.
Okay.
With privacy slides.
With parts.
Okay, all right. Is there a particular reason for it?
So there was a purchase of a abandoned railroad property that changed the property lines. So the existing fence line is now on the property of the bowling alley. So now it's moved closer to us, so we have to That fence is coming down because they're going to put parking spots in there. Then we're going to just reestablish the fence line on our property.
Okay. But I meant the reason you have it is for, because you're
Security.
putting barbed wire on top, so I was just,
It's security.
okay.
Security purposes.
All right. So we'll bring it up here. We'll start with Mr. Fattalia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did review the paperwork, and I did go by the site. I know exactly where you're located, and I know the reason why you want to put the fence up there. For security purposes, I mean, it's a chemical facility in there, correct?
Correct.
So there was a fence there correct? And now you're just moving it back to the
Correct.
new lot line with the barbed wire and the 8-foot height with privacy, so.
Correct.
So being at the site today, I looked at it and seen exactly what you're trying to do. I did speak to the owner of Wamisit Lanes, and he said that he was discussing the matter with you, couldn't be happier with the business connections you have between one another as far as the fences go, and your willingness to put the fence up, because he said he was going to do it, but he said you guys were willing to take on that expense. And it's nice to see you're amiable as far as that goes, and nice to see the working relationship. And very happy about the privacy, because back there is going to be parking, and you don't need anybody seeing in there and seeing the chemical facility you have there and so forth. So I have no problem with what you're trying to do. I understand it completely. My biggest problem, and I'll tell you that, is viewing these plans that you submitted. I could not read these plans with a magnifying glass. So I don't know if it was just me or if anybody else had a problem, but I was trying to locate the abutters and realized that it was Wamisit, it was Tewksbury Greenery, and the Caswell people there. I'm like, okay.
I thought it was me.
Could finally see it with my phone on my magnifying glass. I'm like, my God, I think we need to do something to make sure Ms. Lauder is with us as far as this
I
goes.
suspect they have the full size in the office.
Yeah, so with that, I had no problem with what you're trying to do, and I commend you for working amiably with the abutter. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Duffy.
I'd just also like to commend you for working with the abutters down there and, you know, not bringing everybody's headaches to the planning board meeting. I did take a ride by there today, and I can see it's time for a new fence anyway, so.
It's time for a new fence, yes, sir.
Yeah, so it all kind of worked out for you. And I don't have any problem, I just want to reiterate Mr. Fatalia's, I couldn't read a word on the plan, so I'm going to take your word for it that it's going where it's supposed to.
All right.
That's all,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Just also having been back there recently, you know, new fence is probably good, especially we're going to see more employee traffic there from Wamisit. You also have Cantilever Gate, is that correct?
Yes, that's going to be an upgrade to
Okay.
to our
Is that going in
existing-
at the Collab Road driveway?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. No further questions?
All right. Mr. Fowler?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I think I know the site very well, going there for 40 years. Right?
Sir,
I was on the fire department, so no problems. I like what you're doing with the fence. It's contiguous, and it wasn't as well maintained before as it is now. Will be, I can see that. And with the Cantilever Gate, you're really securing the property, because we don't know, and we don't need to know, the building inspector needs to know what's going in there for, chemicals at all, and the Board of Health. So other than that, I'm pretty much all set. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. My initial problem was that I saw 400 Main Street and thought this giant fence was going to be on Main Street until I figured out where it actually was. So once I realized it's actually in the back like that, I have no issue with, which in truth, this is really a 9-foot fence, because you got 8 feet of fence with another foot of barbed wire. So we're actually 2 feet above our norm when you add that in. Which, again, for what you're doing, that's fine, we want people to stay out of there. The only thing I'm gonna ask that we put on here as a condition is that you keep and maintain the fence, in perpetuity, but more specifically, those slats. You know how like sometimes they start to go missing and then it starts to look like junk because, there's broken ones here, there's missing ones there, and then the fence kind of looks awful.
Yeah, and the technology's changed a lot on those inserts, so they tend to stay, they're made better and they stay better now.
But just imagine, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna say it so you heard it, that way if you have to read it later, you remember I said it and it was in there, so that's all.
Absolutely.
Anyone with any questions, comments, or concerns on this, please come up. State your name and your address for the record, the floor is yours.
Hi, Frank Contonio, owner of
Just lift the mic up. There you go.
Frank Contonio, owner of Tewksbury Florist and Greenery. My only concern is, are you taking down the existing fence and moving it or leaving the existing fence there? Because behind our property, we had a fence and the company before you added the barbed wire on top of it. So I didn't know if you were taking that down because and you moved that fence or just leaving it up. That was my concern.
So my understanding is that during the renovation of the bowling alley, they will be taking the fence down. So they would have to take it down in order to get their
There
parking.
won't be two fences.
There won't be two fences.
When it's all
My
said and done.
understanding is that it has to come down.
Okay.
But yeah, just my concern was the fence that was at the end of our property, the company before you put the barbed wire on top. I didn't know if you were just taking that down to use it or just leaving it and forgetting about it. That's my only concern.
We were planning on taking all of the old fencing down, unless there's an issue there.
Okay.
I don't,
So old fence comes down, new fence all the way around. Is that accurate?
just along that one portion of it.
Right, but I mean,
Yeah.
whatever, it's 700?
Yeah, 700, 800 feet, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right?
Not really, because the old fence, part of it blocks our property. It's on our property, it's our fence. They just put the barbed wire on top. That's just making sure they don't take the fence down that's
I'm
on
sorry.
the
So
property
that,
line.
I misunderstood that too. You're not taking his fence down as part of this?
Okay, so you're saying along the backside of the green?
The backside of the green, on-
Left there.
Yes, because that way people can't come in.
Okay.
But the barbed wire on top was put by the company before us. So, yeah.
Is there something that needs to be done with the barbed wire?
The barbed wire can stay, the whole thing can stay. I just don't want to take it down because people can just walk into our property then at that point.
And again, my understanding is that Wamisit will be taking down all the fence that's now on their property. That's my understanding.
Okay.
So,
Well,
but
again, if it's on his property, I don't know why anybody would be touching it, so that's why I'm
That's what I'm saying. If it's
confused.
we can't touch it anyway,
Right.
I guess. My understanding.
Hi, Donnie McLaren with Wamisit Lanes. So to clarify what Frank was talking about and what these gentlemen are talking about, once Univar has installed their fence, I will be taking down the section of the fence that is directly related to the parking that we have in front of the planning board that's been continued to the October 31st meeting. The part of the fence that is against the Colantonios will remain there and not be removed. It'll only be on the Wamisit Lanes side of it.
All right, good, clarified, excellent. All right, anyone else with any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Mr. Fowler?
Just to make sure, I saw kind of a face here. Is that what you recollect as the plan?
No, that is, yes, sir.
So you're all set?
That'll be fine. I was just, in my head, I was wondering why he was asking about the barbed wire specifically.
Oh.
So I was like,
So you're all set?
I'm all set, yes, sir.
Thanks, Rick. Thank you. All right.
All right, very good. All right, with that, bring it back to the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to close the public hearing.
All right, motion made. Motion made, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. As to the special permit as requested.
I can make a motion to approve the special permit for 400 Main Street and Univar Solutions.
All right, so that will include our okay for the going above the 7 feet.
8 foot.
So the fence itself will be 8 feet with another foot on top of that of the barbed wire, so a total of 9 feet for the whole fence structure. That it will be maintained in perpetuity. most specifically noting that the slats will be kept in good condition and complete throughout the fence. And I think that's it, right?
That's it.
So there's the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
No
you.
problem. Moving on to agenda item E, 663 Main Street sign special permit. Do we have a motion to waive the public reading?
So moved.
We have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. State your names for the record. The floor is yours.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Heather Dudkow, 27 Old Meeting House Road in Auburn, Mass., and I work with the sign installer, Sign Effects.
I'm Ron McNulty, 29 Buttonwood Drive, Andover, Mass.
You town that shall not be named. That's fine. Go ahead.
The proposal before the board tonight is to remove an existing manual reader board on the existing sign structure and replace it with a digital reader board. They currently have refaced the top of the sign to the new look to Ronnie's Car Care Center, but in order to update the manual to a digital board, it requires special permit from this board. It is proposed a full-color board. It can accommodate up to 4 lines of text. I don't know if all 4 lines will be utilized. In the structure, and the cabinet will be installed in the existing freestanding sign, so there'll be no structural change to the sign at all. So I understand that there probably will be some limitations on the time that it can be lit if the board is approved, if the board approves that, and if there's some restriction on the timing, it could only change the message so many times during the day or during the minute. We can
I think
accommodate
we've
that.
kind of gotten away from that, so that's
Have
not,
you?
yeah. Because
Yeah.
we found out through numerous testimony that time changing is not really something that we want to bother with anyways.
Okay, let's do
Sometimes
it.
it's more distracting, to be honest.
Yeah. So
All right.
as you know, I mean, this is the new trend to try to get away from the manual boards because this is a safer option. It can be programmed from inside the store. This, the employees don't have to go out with their poles and change the message. And that's kind of the trend now for the.
And you're amenable to the emergency use when necessary, if you're contacted to?
What now?
Emergency, if they want to do like Amber Alert or fire or something like that. If they contact you, you could accommodate them on the board.
Yeah.
Amber Alert, things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Other than that, I will bring it to the board. We'll start with Mr. Fowler.
I'd like to say I'm all set, but I'm going to hold off for a second. Just a second.
You'd like
I
to
see
say
you've already changed the sign up top, and it looks good.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, I can't ask any questions that would be difficult to answer because I know the answer myself. So I think I am all set. Thank you.
Mr. Duffy.
Yeah, I guess maybe what actually are you thinking about as far as a time for leaving the sign on?
Well, the operating hours are Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, and
Right.
Saturday, 8 to 3. So
Yeah.
nothing, much,
Nothing outside of that, really.
I don't think you'd want to have it on 24 hours,
No.
of course, but a few hours after or.
Okay.
What does the town allow as far as?
Cannot have it on between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. unless you're a business that would be open during those times.
Okay.
And you're obviously not, so you'd fall under that limitation.
So you
Yeah,
technically
I
could
mean,
have it on to midnight,
I'm
right?
fine with that restriction. And, we're glad to see you on board there, and we wish you a lot of luck. And I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Fattalia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you'd probably want it on longer than you're open because people drive by and see the advertisements and so forth, saying that you got
Right, exactly.
free inspections or your free oil changes or
Right.
whatever, not free, but I mean,
Anything free,
So
free.
he's
Breaking your business right now.
I thought I seen something here, free brake inspection, is that what, or spring inspection? So, I mean.
That's the old sign, though.
Yeah, well,
No
if that's the case, I'm coming. So I think you'd want it on more hours than you're open so that you're still
Right.
advertising, but again, shut it off at reasonable hours rather than
Right.
keeping it on overnight, which you can't anyway, but other than that, I'm very familiar with the site. I drive by it on a regular basis. I'm not that far from where you are. I've been there before, and I'm glad to see you upgrading the facility. So,
Okay.
thank you. All set, Mr. Chairman.
Chip.
I'm not sure who would, if we need Ms. Louder back, but, there's 3 areas that we're looking for relief from here. I think based on precedent, we have no issue with full color signs. That's pretty standard now. But I'm not sure why, what the protection is that they want it on a site that has over 10 acres of land and/or that it's set back.
Well, I mean, I can give you my impression of it. When we put this thing in, the feeling at the time amongst some of the members of the board, we didn't like these. So we set.
The anti-Tux Vegas?
Yeah, so these were set at very, very high sort of markers, but then we put in the ability to authorize them if we okayed it. That was sort of the compromise for those of us who didn't necessarily have as much of an issue with it. So that's really why. We're
the ones to the left, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. That's right, see? So I think it was sort of, we kept it in even in the new version. That way it's set at a high bar in terms of, in general, but then we can do it on a case-by-case basis. That's really why. That's my opinion.
I think the sign really fits the character of the site. It's a small site, it's a small sign. I didn't have any issues of it, but I'm also kind of a law and order kind of guy, so I don't like offering relief just for the sake of offering relief.
Correct.
Situations like that, I feel like maybe we should just change the bylaw if it's something that everybody that comes before us is going to get relief from. Saves us a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, it's because we treat it a little different when we're in, say, like the town center district. We hold them to a different standard usually, whether we're okay with it. It's just, obviously it came up when we discussed the changes to the bylaw, but we thought that this was still a better start point to work from, because then it forces you to, at least my opinion, anything we ask for, since you're asking for relief, we can work with and get, want to make sure we get good things, and this allows that. And that's, again, just my opinion.
Yeah. I'll add one thing. One of the most direct answers was we did not want to conflict with lights at Connershaw in Maine, or Maine with red lights on a sign where fire trucks and ambulances and police cars are going through. I know police cars are blue lights, but all encompassing. We didn't want to have a confusion or someone miss the light or have it flash in with the light that this sign would be put on. This is on a straight shot. To me, it's not a problem at all. Shouldn't be a problem at all.
I agree, and it's, a few hundred feet from Wamisit, who has, a much larger, much more robust signage,
Correct.
so.
Right.
I was just curious, and I appreciate the illumination. I have no further questions.
Illumination, very good.
All right, so, and I think to sort of feed off of Mr. Champa's sort of comment is, to me, I think part of the weighing here is, you look at what it's replacing. And to me, those hand-done signs, they just don't look good really anymore, and they, you have them out there on Main Street. These signs at this point are so, sort of, high grade at this point. They're not even those old amber ones, which I think can look a little
Well, the
iffy too.
technology really has.
At this point, I feel like, you're not really as worried about the Tux Vegas thing of, bright lights, big city,
Yep.
as much as I think these look clean. I think they look, and as long as they're maintained and kept at a high grade,
Agreed.
type sign, that they can be far more, attractive, and convey, what they need to convey in a better way.
Yeah.
And when they're replacing things that that are less aesthetically pleasing, I think that's a good thing for us. And, obviously you guys did keep to, a smaller sign,
Appropriate
not trying to
size.
put as the size of the old sign, and have this giant thing for, a relatively small site. I think that's also a smart move on your part. And the only thing I'll say, and it was kind of in what I just said, which is, we approved one of these, and we made the mistake at the time of not making it a condition that it be a high-grade and well-maintained sign, meaning that the visual is maintained at a high level. and that it doesn't become some low-grade sign that's blurry and all pixeled out, and then that starts to look terrible.
Right,
So
right.
that's not gonna be allowed. So you're gonna have to keep it in good condition, in a hot, in a good functioning condition, or you're not gonna be able to keep it on,
Yeah.
basically, because we
Right.
can't, at least I won't, I don't wanna tolerate
No, because that defeats the
bad-looking
purpose of
signs. The
having-
whole point is to get rid of that
Yeah.
for something better. And if
Agreed.
it's not gonna be maintained that way, then you're not gonna get the benefit of having it.
Right.
Because we're
Agreed.
gonna have an issue.
Agreed.
So, all right, so we'll open it up to the audience. Seeing that there's no one in the audience, I suspect there are no comments.
They're all out in the hallway.
Therefore, we'll bring it back to the board. Oh, I'm sorry, I did have one other question.
Sure.
Did you already do this upper sign already?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Was it on purpose or by accident that you have the exact same colors as the previous sign's business?
Was it what now?
The
same
colors of
color.
your sign are exactly the same as the previous business.
Yeah, well, I kind of picked that because I got rid of the franchise that was in there.
Okay, I was just curious, I just didn't know if this was accidental or if it was
Yeah.
on purpose.
No,
Okay.
that's a sign that Dave, he drew up, so.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask one more quick question as well? Thank you. I happen to notice that, normally with these approvals in the waivers, it says you need to have an electrical permit in hand. Now, I know we're dealing with something that's already existing.
Right.
Does that need any electrical upgrades or to
Well, when they
install
did
that
the
sign?
top
or-
sign, they upgraded all to LED lighting and whatever the electrician has to do when they put the sign up to upgrade it to whatever standards of, for now, it'll be done,
I mean, they're gonna have to get it, yeah.
We have to get a
They'll
permit.
get the permit, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, both of you usually take care of this, but what I do notice, the address is not on the sign. The address of the
okay.
property needs to be put on the sign, so
Sure.
that's another condition.
Okay.
I usually leave that to my smarter colleagues here, but it seems
So
like
where
they
would you,
missed it
where
this
would you like
time.
that placed on the sign? Do you want it on the top? You want a little
Well,
panel on the
usually,
top?
I mean, I don't know, do you guys have a preference? I mean, somewhere.
Put it on the
usually-
bar. The
Yeah,
bar,
I mean,
that's-
Sure.
put it on the
Bar?
bar, I mean,
Sure.
whatever
Yep.
looks good, don't,
On the fixed
Sign,
sign.
Yeah, they can do like a reflective lettering on here with your number,
Oh,
with
okay.
the street
and
number.
you'll need that, obviously, on both sides.
Okay,
Okay.
yep.
All right?
Yep, no problem.
All right, so those are the,
Mr. Chairman,
what's that?
good pick.
And we'll do the, we'll
have to leave something,
verify
I
the
know, right?
electrical.
If I go last, I need something. All right, so with that, I brought it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
Motion to close the public hearing?
All right, motion made, do I have a second? Motion made and second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. As to the site, the sign permit, what is the pleasure of the board?
A motion to approve the special permit for this sign?
All right, so first, we need to do the waivers.
We have to do them one at a time?
No, we can do them together.
Well, then, Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to approve the waivers, section 6.2.7, C4A, C4B, and C4H.
All right, so we have a motion to grant the waivers as requested.
Second.
The motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Okay, so now to the site, the special permit, a site plan review for the signed special permit.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan review for the special permit with the conditions as mentioned, as far as electrical permit would be obtained if electrical rework is required, and the address of the property will be on the sign.
All right, and the maintenance in perpetuity of the sign in good condition, working order, and, the hours was the other one, is the, you're limited that it has to be off between 12 and 6.
Correct, thank you.
All right. And that's it, right? All right, so motion made.
Second.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That brings us to agenda item F, which the applicant has requested to be continued to our October 31st meeting. We have them penciled in for 7 o'clock. So do I have a motion to continue?
Make a motion to
434 Main
continue, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion made, seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. That brings us to old business. Any old business anyone wishes to discuss? Hearing none. Any new business anyone wishes to discuss?
Yes, Mr. Chair. As you know, in our package today, we got under correspondence, which is the next item under new business, the letter from, the information from Alex on 4 sites for marijuana dispensary. I've looked at them, and I'm sure we all will. There are a lot more than this on the horizon. So we're going to have quite a time limit. Of course, it will be weaned down when certain restrictions apply, like paying your taxes and all other things that you have to do to live in the town. And then the selectmen will get it, and they will issue permit, will do the site plan special permit for the dispensary. That's it.
All right. So Mr. Fowler touched on it, but we have correspondence, and in that correspondence, there are 4 notices for those sort of preliminary meetings that they're not really anything to do with the town themselves. Us. They're just being held as part of the requirements for the dispensaries. It's sort of the beginning of the process for their interest. And then they do a whole bunch of other things with the state and everybody before they'd ever probably get here. So as Mr. Fowler said, we may or may not even see any of these come before us, but the ones listed right now are 2122 Main Street, 2212 Main Street, 890 East Street, and 2504 Main Street. And again, as Mr. Fowler pointed out, there are other interests in other places. We'll hear those come out in the news and whatnot, but again, unless and until something actually comes before us, we will reserve consideration and whatnot until we have something actually in front of us, I guess. Everybody's obviously free to go to any of these and come back with any information that they want to convey to the board, obviously, but that's it for that. So if there isn't anything else, I will take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
A motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, we'll see you on the 31st.